hold it right there. Let me pull up a chair. I have the 5 mile stare. So, this is the NFJ&FXaudio, which has done a couple weird products. That first big one was a stinker, and then everything else was like weird. This is the third product that I purchased with Patreon money, and the reason I purchased it is because in the Patreon chat on Telegram, which is if you're in the $10 tier or higher, you get in there, and usually when those people say something like, hey Zeos, why don't you review this? I tend to listen a little more. So if you'd like to tell me what to review, please join the $10 Patreon tier and get into the Telegram chat. Now this is the PW-6. It needs to be cleaned. Yes. And it's not powering these speakers. No. That's the SMSL SA100 is powering the speakers. What this thing is doing is simply switching where the power is going. And in fact, it's still playing right now, and the music hasn't stopped. The amplifier hasn't stopped amplifying. This is a remote-controlled or push-button speaker switch. That's it. A whole day of Zeros. This is like relaxing. This is like, hey, Zeos is gonna review something that I actually don't need to buy. I can just look at anime girls in the wallpaper and sit back because I don't need this. You don't need this. I personally might need this. RMAF might need this. Getting 2 of these would be interesting, except I think the remote... Wasteful remote. The back is... I don't have to unplug anything. Literally power in. You have a micro USB DC in also. Actually, let's check that out right this second, because I haven't played with that enough. I think you have the choice of either or will make this thing make the goes. Oh. Yeah.
I'll protect you from...
So you have a choice of either using the power brick that came with it, which is a 12 volt 1 amp, or USB power will also make this function, and its job is to have one signal get put in either A or B. And that includes having an amplifier feed in and then having 2 sets of speakers, or having 2 amplifiers feed into 1 pair of speakers if you wanted to compare amplifiers. So this thing screams, Zeos, you need this to sit in your closet in the wall and just not fucking just leave, just have it there forever. So I bought one. It's like 80 bucks. I don't know, link in the description. You might need one if you have more than 1 pair of speakers or more than 1 amplifier, which at that point you're like, are you a reviewer on YouTube? Because you shouldn't have a need to push more than 1 amplifier into 1 pair of speakers to compare unless you're actually doing reviews. Now here I've got the $400 Yamo Concert C91 2s and then the RB42s. And I figure that's a pretty good comparison. They're both 4-inch. They both have big soft domes. I'm using that amplifier, which I love and trust. Now I've just reviewed that earlier today, so now is the time to do this. Put this back down. We obviously don't need any of this shit anymore. We don't need to power it. By the way, link to this. I unboxed this, and this is not enough fame. Did you know you can get an adapter that turns one of these, which is AKA like any computer power cord, into a standard like power plug, which means you can make any one of those an extension cord. They also make little short ones too. And I have a million of those and like 1 extension cord. So now I have a million extension cords. So we don't need to power it with that. We can power with USB. But if you don't have USB available, you power with that. And all this thing does is have 2 buttons on the front. Ready? On, off, off, and then a selector. So turn it on. The end. Now, I don't understand some stuff about how this was built. I have a feeling that this was designed initially to be something else, and they just went, oh fuck, yeah, just use this. The efficiency of the RB42s is far less, by the way. So when I switch sounds, you're going to hear that the RB42s are quiet. which is one of the problems this does not solve. There are some switchers that'll actually have separate volume controls, and this way you switch, you actually can tell. I mean, I can implement that with like a pot on the output, but I'm not going to bother for this particular thing. I would just raise and lower if I'm switching. Here's the most interesting shit. There are 6 LEDs over here. 6. First of all, that screen. I don't have to shield it because it's so fucking bright. Let me pause the music. So turning it off, that's the off state. Literally, off state is 3 bright, like room lighting up. It's just so bright. And that's like a purple cover on it. So it's as dull as they can make it, and it's still too bright. When you turn it on, it says 1, 2. And that's because we're on the number 1 input and on the number 2 output. If we hit select, now we're on 1, 1, which is the number 1 input and the number 1 output. But that's the only outputs we've got. So the number 1 is irrelevant. This could be covered entirely and you just have 1 and 2. Which is where we get to the remote. Well, actually, no, before the remote. So 6 LEDs, right? 2 for power, 2 for AB, and 2 for AC. And I don't know why. Because it doesn't like... If I break the connection, it doesn't show that. I thought maybe that was a diagnostic LED thing. Where it shows, okay, power. So that means power must be the input of this. So it would be pull this left side out and only the right LED would light up. And no. That would make sense. So instead, it's just fucking 2 power LEDs and 2 for this and 2 for that. And when you switch it, it's A, B, or AC. Now, if this thing if you were to trust the remote control, which has 10 buttons on it, I want to point out in case you can't count really quickly. There's the power button, which does power off the unit, and therefore when the music's playing, nothing's coming through. I'm thinking for like RMAF, I set this thing up. It's a relay. It's literally just making metal contact and letting go, so I'm not worried about it destroying signal quality or anything. And it's actually better that it's coming through the speaker wire end and not RCA. Because RCA, yeah, you can actually pick up a lot more interference. It's only 2 1/4 volts. And if it's not clean and the cell phone's nearby, it could fuck it up. But a speaker selector like this, the signal's all over there, doing its own thing. Perfectly shielded cables plugged in. Then this is power. It's very hard to fuck up power. You have to basically run a speaker cable through a microwave to have it pick up. Or if you have like a extension cord, you want to try this experiment, get a 50-foot piece of extension cord, a 50-foot piece of speaker wire, and run the entire length parallel, like touching each other. And you will pick up the 60 hertz whoop 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 of the actual AC current. But other than that, it's very hard to get interference in a speaker cable. So I'd rather switch speaker power than signal power. So it's off and sitting here. There's my first button. There is a slight delay or the button's sticky. I can't tell. Here, you ready? I'm gonna hit press. 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 Press and hold. Okay, there it goes. It worked that time. You gotta be real deliberate and you gotta aim. I think it's one of those things where if I don't aim it properly. Yeah, now see, this does shit. That does shit. And that works fine. So, it's just a cheap remote. And of these 10 buttons, only 3 work. This entire bottom section, this is labeled A, 1, 2, 3, A. And this is labeled B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 and 2, that's it. You have the choice between, you turn this on, you turn this on, you turn it on, and you can go A or B. A, B. It's much more consistent with the switching of A and B. You actually hear it tings. The relay's actually tinging. It's just... So switch tracks. The Beatles, no. Oh, Wicked Witch of the West. That's these. One nice thing about it is the display is so big and bright that you could definitely see it on a review because it's so fucking big and bright. I should get one of those CRT magnifier lenses that used to get in like science books and just stick it right in front of it and make it huge. So yeah, 1-1 is the Yamos, and 1-2 is the Micas. See, I'm hitting power because I want it to be just on. Even when you push that button, it's delayed. Off is not bad, but on takes a second. And it's killing me. There's, don't ask me to judge between these two speakers right now, because I know there's a volume discrepancy, which makes the Yamaha seem louder, and anything that seems louder is automatically going to seem better. That's a rule. If you set up identical speakers behind a black curtain, identical speakers, and you make one 1.5 decibels louder than the other, and you say, which one of these sounds better? Even if they're the same speaker, like it's some crazy like high 90s percentile will say, oh, obviously the B sounds better, and it's just because it's a little bit louder. So I don't want to judge between the two. All I'm saying is these Yamos are amazing, and that just goes to show how good the fucking RB42s are. I just wish that the power was not... The power requirements of the RB42s is just ridiculous. It's so much quieter.
I want to bring up Amy Lee from Evanescence right now.
You're too sweet.
We thought this would be a cool song to do together, so...
You know. So this is a very interesting unit. Now, I wonder if I would use it to compare speaker amps. Like, that would not be the worst thing, because speaker amps would be a lot easier. Because then I could set the volume on this one, set the volume on this one, so that the speakers are identical, and then have one pair of speakers, and then just go back and forth and listen for the difference. That'd be cool with a tube amp. A tube speaker amp and a solid-state speaker amp. That would be an ideal usage for this. Now, the remote control means like living room would be good. I've actually built units like this that you had to hold and click. So this is just a convenience thing. For $75, I'm gonna keep this in my. I have an audio box there. This box here. Let me show you. This is where the magic happens. If I need a connector or a wire, it's somewhere in here, in this box of magic connectors. This is what years of being an audio YouTuber has done. If I granted someone this box, if I handed it to them, they would just ascend immediately to audio YouTuber. So this is going to be one of those things that's in that box, or on a shelf, really, in case I need it. In case I'm like, you know what I really need to do? I need to compare these two speakers. Whip this out. I could use a battery pack. Since it's running off of this, I could run it off a goddamn Anchor fucking 8,000 milliamp hour, and it'll probably last forever. Although these LEDs are bright. It's weird. Look, it's NFJ and FXaudio just automatically means weird. Useful. Very useful. Take one in and two outs, or take one out and two ins. It doesn't matter. It's not processing the signal. It's just making metal contacts happen. And you can't run both at the same time, which would then eliminate the ability for you to go two into one, because then amplifiers would touch and that'd be bad. So it's literally this here to here, or there to there. I wish the remote was a little bit simpler, and it didn't have such weird, quirky angles that it didn't work at. Wish it didn't make quite a tingy sound. I might try to open this up, fill it with stuffing, so it just doesn't make that sound. I'm sure there's just relays in there that are just cheap relays. I wonder if I could put better relays in. No. Stop. It works. It's fine. It's got double LEDs for everything. It's got 10 buttons when it needs 3. It's got the brightest fucking display. How many? What is it on? I think it's on 1, 2. Yeah. But it's useful, and it's cheap. For what it does, I don't think you could find one cheaper. If you could find a speaker switcher with remote control cheaper than that, please tell me about it in the comments. In the interim, I will link this thing. It's still available on Amazon. I got it on Amazon. It's here. Free shipping. It's got mediocre reviews, poor quality, nice, didn't work. Good switch, very poor design. Remote speaker stereo switch. It looks poor and too bright. Well, I can't argue that it doesn't look poor. It looks good. It looks like it could be any number of things. It is too fucking bright, though. I would highly recommend getting something to just dull that down. Didn't work. Always one channel is always dead. Seemed to be random. Different two speakers hooked up. So his relay failed. I would hook up 2 amps, the same set of speakers, but it's not coming with any instructions or diagrams. So that person just doesn't understand how to make speaker ding go. It's not that hard to figure it out. All right, enough of this. Today was a good day. Did you guys enjoy anime background? Did you guys enjoy hearing music? Let's get more. I swear to God, the midtones on the micas might be just. I feel like there's more detail coming out of these. I'm not giving that review now, but I feel like there's more detail coming out of these. But these somehow sound like they've got a little bit more going on soundstage wise and depth wise. So it's like, that's a $400 versus $130, and they're the same size drivers, but that has a phase plug. A phase plug. Oh shit. Anyway, wow. I've done a couple videos like this in a row, and every one of them I have to basically say, this will not end up in a yard sale because this is a piece of equipment. I'm not putting this in the yard sale because that's coming to Rocky Mountain. If you don't know, I have already paid for a $13,500 room at the Rocky Mountain Audio Fest in Colorado in the beginning of September. And I'm trying to get the GoFundMe to help pay for that, and then hopefully for the rest of that trip, because airplane tickets and additional hotel rooms and food, and we got to drive a truck out there, and it's an expensive event, and we've raised over $7,000, actually over $7,500 at this point. I think, I don't want to be lying, I think it's $7,460, but we're at a point now where it's like, okay, can we at least pay for the room? So if you want to check out the GoFundMe, watch the video there, see if it's worth your 20 bucks or something, $5, $1, anything helps. But we're going to try to show off things like, well, not this. I'm not showing this off. But I'm going to show that off. I want to show these off. I want to show off cheap things that can absolutely make you smile from music. Because that's what any fucking audio show should be about. Is about music first and equipment second. And it's not fair to show off only equipment that only the hyper-rich can buy. Because, you can't smile. You're not allowed to fucking smile. You can't afford this stuff. Come to the room. 9,005, I think. 905. It's on the GoFundMe page. I should know it by now. But come to that room. You will hear things that you could absolutely fucking afford. You might have, like, the most expensive thing in the room might be like $1,000, which is like, oh, actually no, the Ohm's gonna send a set of their Walsh 3000s. Those are like $4,000 for a pair, but that's top tier of I think anyone should ever have to afford, and it's still cheaper than most things in most rooms, even power cables. So yeah, the Patreon, where the yard sale would be, will have other things that are not this. You get to see these videos early, you get to comment, you get to ask me questions. If you want to ask me questions directly, that $10 room I was talking about exists. So when you join up to the Patreon, there's a $5 tier, gets you into like most things, into the yard sales, into questioning, into seeing every video early. $10 tier gets you into that private chat, and then $15.30 and above that is just because you want to show off how awesome you are. Please show me how awesome you are. Also, $2 tier gets you all the anime waifu backgrounds that I've ever used. Just saying, it's just sex sells, and there you go. I ain't got it. That's it for today. I will see you all tomorrow for another video, probably something you might actually want to buy, because I don't think anyone's super interested in this. But then again,